Hey there, everyone, and welcome to our session 0 for Storm King's Thunder. I'm joined here today by several of my friends, both on YouTube and off. And I think how we'll do this is uh, we'll kind of go in order of in order of how it's showing on my screen. So what I'd like you guys to do is kind of introduce your name and or your and your YouTube channel. We'll handle characters in just a little bit. So directly to my right, it says Eamon.
That'd be me. I am Gabe Nunez, if that matters. I am in the cold northern wasteland of Canada. Me and most of these people go pretty far back. I don't actually have a YouTube channel or anything like that. I just kind of tend to get asked to do things on other people's YouTube channels. Though I am currently working on my own D&D campaign featuring some of the people playing in this one.
Hello.
Should be good. I will slap the shit out of you. Both in and out of the game. Which should be going up some other time. So probably in a future session, I will talk more about that.
Yeah.
Self-plugging.
Next person in line is Drukta.
Hello, I am Andrew. Again, just go way back with pretty much everyone here except for a few. But I as well am working on a YouTube channel. That's kind of a way future project. So probably before this entire game ends, but not, in a few years or whatever. We'll see what happens.
Honesty.
But yeah, nope. So I am playing in Amon's campaign on another thing, so
just
probably
call me
other people.
It'll be way easier for you.
What?
Just call me Gabe. It'll be way easier for me.
It'll be a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
But I'm playing in a lot of people's campaigns, and so you'll probably be seeing a lot of me.
All right, next in line would be Mr. Thurman.
Hello,
Who's Thurman?
me, you fuck. I'm Thurman. Hello, I'm Thurman. I do not have YouTube. I do not YouTube. I do not view the tube. I'm just here to play Dungeons and Dragons with some good friends. That's about it.
I feel like most of us don't know you.
Yeah, most of you don't. I know. Hey, you motherfucker! I know Andrew and I know Josh, and they are good friends. The rest of you, jump in a fire.
But who the hell is Thurman?
But who's Thurman?
I'm Thurman. I'm Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus.
All right,
I'm
I think
Squidward.
you're next. I think Jeremy, you're next.
Yes, that would be me.
Spoilers, his name is Jeremy.
He kind of bursted my bubble there with the whole So my name is Jeremy, as we all just had that pointed out. I'm just here to play Dungeons and Dragons too. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. I dungeon master my own game. So, needless to say, this will be an interesting experience since it's my first time as a player.
Like ever?
Like ever.
With the exception of one day where he was under Josh in 5e.
Which
One day.
Which to say, he also didn't play for the first half, I think, of the session.
Yeah, most of that session was us laughing at Nathan's character Cher.
I remain proud.
You could have ended a sentence at laughing at Nathan, and I would have just nodded the same amount.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Nathan, I believe Nathan is next in our lineup.
The illusion has been shattered, sir. I'm Styles, damn it. Hey everybody, I am Styles of Styles Reviews. If any of you happen to watch me, I'm sure you recognize the icon down there. I am a supposed longtime friend / punchline of half the people in this group.
Aww, he knows his role.
I do. And speaking of rolling, I am greatly looking forward to this online opportunity.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
And then for those of
I'm paid by the word, right? That's
yeah, I think that's how it works.
all right.
Yeah.
That is how friendship
And a
works,
dance
right?
move. Oh shit, that explains so much.
And then for those of you who are watching from a different channel, I'm Josh from Dragon Essence. I run a YouTube channel that's all about gaming, mainly MMOs, and I really wanted to introduce tabletop to the channel, and here we are. I will be the dungeon master for this game. Those of you who were already watching me from my channel would know that I am running a module from Wizards of the Coast called Storm King's Thunder. It is the most recent as of this recording, so looking forward to it. So, yeah, that's my character. I am all the characters.
He is our god.
I wouldn't go that far.
He is
I
Legion,
would.
for he is many.
Yeah. call me Legion. So
Whoa, that was the sound of the world open.
I will call you anything you want if you let me eat rocks.
but like I said, you're fully welcome to eat rocks. I just can't speak for your digestive tract.
But I am a rock. I'm a rock with googly eyes and a personality.
Oh my god.
So since we're spiraling down the character path, I think we'll go in the same order. We can briefly introduce our characters. We don't have to go into backstory too much quite yet. We'll kind of go from there. So I think we will start with. It says Eamon here, so until I know what colors who respectively, I will refer to you guys by those.
The Amon.
Yeah.
Okay, before I start, I just want to give a quick shout out to the artists behind this dope ass little icon I got going for this guy. His name is apparently Greg Opolinski. He's got deviant art. Legitimately, I typed in or read, and this came up, and it's sweet as hell. So I totally encourage you guys to check out the rest of his artwork.
If you're watching on my channel, you guys will probably see that in the next video.
That's classy.
What?
That's classy, Gabe.
What?
No, I'm being genuine. That's cool that you called out the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Josh, is my icon still just random shapes?
It's still random shapes, but that's because
Hit
I'm.
refresh.
Well, I was about to say because I'm trying to avoid refreshing it. I don't know if it's going to pop back into a different screen.
I'll risk it.
All right, yeah. More on point. I will be paying Amon Torskin, but not with that voice. Yeah, he's a Earth Ganassi bard. Like we said, we're not gonna be going into backstories that much, but I would describe him as Viking as fuck.
All right, Drukta.
I am playing Drukta. I am a pixie paladin, hailing from the Celtic forests by the Elvins. Yes.
But by the Elvins, right next to the Dwarvens and the humans.
I am north of the Dwarvins.
The funny
and east
part.
of the humans.
The funny part is that you're somebody who's been playing in this world for a while now, and you still don't know the names of the holdings of the countries and stuff like that.
I'm gonna say this right now. Drukta does have no idea what shit is. He's wandering the forest like he doesn't
That's
know
all
jack.
right.
All right, like without any explanation, how does Drupta feel about becoming a backpack?
Drukta is fine so long as you promise to relinquish your soul upon death to him.
No,
Alright.
we've been over this. We'll talk about this not in front of the children.
All right, Ankahet.
Yes, I am Ankahet. I am an Arakoa druid from the deep south in Egypt land. Egypt land.
Right next to the Elvins.
Yes,
But this one is south of the Dwarvens.
it's deep south. So, my character is stoic, humble, and oftentimes quiet. That's it.
All right,
I
Callus.
can't reveal any backstory, so
Cal-
what were you playing? Like what class?
I am a druid.
Oh, I did not
Oh.
hear that. I apologize.
Yes, the Ichikins can have druids too. And we'll go into a little bit of detail about the world here in just a little bit. That way we can clear up some confusion for, at the very least, Gabe, Jeremy, and Nathan, as they are not familiar with this world yet.
I still
So-
don't even know what the hell a Thurman is.
Okay, so you know the little plastic tip on the end of your shoelace? Pretty much that.
All right.
That's an aglet, you monster.
I thought that was in Antarctica,
Aglet, Thurman, what's the difference?
which is
Alright.
west of the dwarfing.
All right. Jeremy.
So my name is Calliston Timborius Grovespring. I am a gnome who hails from the southern Elvenlands, as they are so colloquially called.
That's what locals call it. I mean, really, you call it by its actual name, everyone knows you're a tourist.
I'm a druid as well, so one of us is gonna have to change. I'm kidding.
Now we're
No,
all
he's not.
druids.
And that's about it. I figure my character will speak for himself eventually.
All right. Nathan.
All right. My name is Davarin, and I am playing. I think the technical name for my class is a whore. I am actually playing a rogue.
Whores make
who-
money.
A little bit of a spoiler here. Who's going to be multi-classing into barbarian because I refuse to play by the obvious rules. Yeah. He deems himself rather classy. So we'll see if that comes through. That's pretty much all I'll say for now.
All right.
Token non-spellcasters so that we can get those affirmative action grants.
Fuck
Nathan.
yeah.
Nathan, did you state your race?
I did not. I am sorry. I didn't really think that was important. I am playing a damn human. So I am very pretty.
All right.
That's not what that means.
All right. So, all of that said, just a little bit about this world here. As I pull up the Word document that I have for it. So I know that both of our Andrews here are already familiar with the world of Midgard here, as they are both for another campaign, The Adventures of the Dragon's Hoard Inn. They are both DMs and players. So, first things first, kind of just a quick little thing for the geography, guys. The continent of Midgard is a large mass of land surrounded by sea, with several neighboring islands, and a crater-like sister continent to the far east. It's dominated by elves and men, and while most of it lies in control of the two larger races, much of it remains unexplored due to its untamed stretches of wilderness. It is a land of danger, history, opportunity, and also of adventure. East of Midgard is a small archipelago of islands inhabited by the Halflings. This smaller race is the cultural bridge between elf, man, and the alien members of the Ichikan society to the east. Though it's a smaller landmass, the Halflings generally only inhabit the coastal regions of those islands, which means that if we ever find ourselves exploring the Halfling homeland, there's plenty of opportunity for adventure and treasure-seeking there. The sister continent to Midgard is Ichika. It's a crater-like island with a ring of mountains, which hides a desert and a society of creatures best described as anthropomorphic animals, such as the feline Eubastians, the canine Anubisians, and as Mr. Thurman is playing, our avian Aarakocra. Little. Meanwhile, over in Midgard, little is known of Ichika. and its inhabitants the inhabitants of Ijika are generally xenophobic and secretive, often meeting with the halflings through the use of intermediaries or cryptic messages left in prearranged locales.
Yes. Deep
Room-
South.
Rumor is that the capital of Ijika is a city made of gold on the banks of a mighty river, and that all members of its society are demon-worshipping sorcerers.
Gold, you say?
I roll insight.
This claim may be a significant stretch of the imagination, but so is the notion that the world is round. Though much of the history of the world has been lost to the ages, there's still plenty to know. When we cover history, it'll mostly be what is accepted by the scholars of the Middle Kingdoms, the kingdoms of Man and Dwarf. So Andrew, you will be from the far east in Desert Land.
Of Ijika.
Yeah.
Very nice. Alright.
So those of you who are playing Fae will be from the Elven kingdoms known as, and if any Irish speakers are watching this, I apologize for my horrible mispronunciation of Gaelic. But Talam na Foresi, which is it's basically land of forests or something similar to that.
Or the Elvins.
Or the Elvins. Separating the kingdoms of Man on the eastern half of Midgard and the Elven kingdoms on the western half of Midgard is a single mountain range known as the Titanspire Mountains. Really, the only easy ways of getting through that mountain range and across to the different nations is through is up in the far north, just north of those mountains, to the far south of those mountains, and kind of smack in the middle is a pass that has been coined Heimdall's Pass, that you guys may be able to get through if you're trying to get through on a central location of either series of kingdoms. So, any questions?
I'm good.
We're good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
It's a bit.
Is it horrendously important where my character formed?
Sort of. Genocide, quick thing for this world. Genocide are what I have endearingly termed world farts.
I'm proud.
Throughout history, various
Real life.
throughout history in this world, little magical anomalies, as it were, sometimes form. Sometimes they form portals, and other times they kind of just poof into nothingness. And then on a rare occasion, they will spawn a living, breathing entity who is a manifestation of a particular element. As Aemon is an earth elemental, he could easily have appeared anywhere. Though, given that you're going with the whole Norse theme, you probably spawned somewhere in the Kingdoms of Men. So you probably spawned somewhere in the Middle Kingdoms.
Cool. I fell out of a cliff.
So, yeah. Probably the next little bit would be the. I think I'll cover the kingdoms real quick before we delve a little bit into the history. I'll start with Ijika, since that's probably our most exotic locale. That was a compliment, Thurnman.
Oh, well, good.
I called you exotic.
I'm glad I'm exotic. Just eyeing me like a piece of man meat. I know who you are. You
Bird
son of a
meat.
bitch.
Bird meat. I'm looking at you like you're a piece of turkey.
Delicious.
For all you bird watchers out there, a thurman is an exotic bird.
Now I'm a birdman.
I finally know, and knowing is half the battle.
The other half is hitting shit.
So while wars were waged and empires fought in Midgard, the continent of Ijika found its own path. Despite being composed of xenophobic creatures, the Desert Empire has seen significant growth of culture and knowledge, and has even reached out tentatively to the halflings for trade and information. There are several different races who make this desert their home: the feline Eubastions, the canine Anubisians, the avian Aarakocra, the bovine Apicians, which are basically minotaurs, and the reptilian Sessions. These races live in harmony with one another, with prejudices extending only to minor religious disputes. For instance, Eubastions and Anubisians have an unspoken enmity. So many rectangles, what are you doing?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Stop talking. Don't worry. I'll be on
So, for instance, Eubastions and Anubisians have a little bit of an unspoken enmity. Eubastions hold their goddess Bast as having a higher place than Anubis, and Anubisians believe the opposite.
Okay.
However, the seemingly utopian culture is on the verge of upheaval. The priesthood had always served the pharaoh, and spread the belief that the pharaoh was the mortal incarnation of the god Horus. In recent years, however, the pharaoh and the priesthood have begun shifting their teachings to venerate the sun god Aten to the exclusion of all other gods. It's only a matter of time before civil war breaks out, or worse, the gods themselves intervene.
And my god's better than their gods. Fuck them.
So,
Very neat. All right.
yeah.
Now I know. My
The king-
god is fucking cool. Good. That's what I need to know. Stupid cat people and stupid dog people. Who gives a shit about them? Fucking not from the skies, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe Lawson is creeping his way in. If he would like to join the conversation, he is welcome to.
No.
I sent
Hell
him,
Kick him
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I sent him an invite, so I'm waiting for him.
I was gonna ask if you wanted to introduce him, but I didn't want to kill your momentum.
It's no worry.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then if you guys could just message him, make sure he knows that the link to Roll20 is there. That way he'll be able to enter this as well.
yeah.
Here.
I don't even think a Larson is on my friends list.
Let's talk more about you than him.
In the meantime, we'll take a look at the realms of the elves. Ever since their war with the giants, the elves have seen a sort of peace. The caste system they follow had kept a semblance of order, and the Eladrin policy of non-interference in relation to their human and dwarf neighbors had prevented war with outside powers. Hello. I hear a Lawson.
That's not entering quietly.
Not at all.
Anyway, but all is not necessarily peaceful in the land of forests. The aristocratic Eladrin and High Elves have succumbed to decadence, and much of the magic and knowledge gained over the many centuries has been forgotten. The highest tier of Fey culture, the Eladrin nobility, form most, if not all, of the population of the capital city of Oilion on Fari. This island rests in the center of a large lake, ringed by High Elf lords and nobility in their serene cities. The common rabble of Fey culture, the wood elves, pixies, sprites, and forest gnomes, live among the trees in the forests where they hunt, farm, and pay taxes to the nobility. Hold on just a moment. I'm going to lower Lawson's volume just a bit.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Go ahead and talk, Lawson. That way I can hear how well you're at.
Greetings.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Lawson, there's a Roll20 link in the chat, so click that, and if you don't have an account, make one, and you'll join in with the rest of us in our.
But then he has to do an introduction like the rest of us did. Yeah.
We'll wait until Josh is filling this in, probably.
Yeah.
Despite having political power over most of Midgard, the majority of the forests are untamed and wild. Wood elf towns and cities blend into the trees and are in fact part of the forests. Meanwhile, the cities of the High Elves near the lake are walled in and kept separate from nature. These cities are beautiful in their architecture, but seem to pale in comparison to that of the Eladrin. The peace is maintained largely by keeping distance from the different castes, with interactions mainly limited to law enforcement, taxes, and trade. Below the surface, however, a sinister force is growing in power. Wood elves who had traveled to Midgard during the era of the Rising Sun generally came with one of two philosophies: to break free of the caste system, or to explore the new world and establish a new home. The majority was content to maintain the caste system, but the remainder eventually grew restless. Their revolt lasted less than a fortnight, and those that weren't imprisoned or exiled found their sanctuary below ground. The significant amount of time that has passed has reshaped these elves into a much more violent society, which hides its bloodthirst in subterranean decadence. These dark elves, or drow, have long abandoned their old beliefs in favor of worshipping the spiders living in the caves, eventually deifying the creatures as Lolth. Similarly, the scorpions that also lived underground alongside the more common arachnids became deified as Volkur, the consort to the Spider Queen. Drow culture is one of intrigue, murder, and machination. The great houses of their cities vie for power and for the favor of the gods through any subtle means necessary. These times of peace and shadow wars are bookended by centennial purges, and each period of time reflects the different aspects of their gods. The shadow wars and political disputes during the supposed peacetime reflect the silent evils of Lolth, while the more open and violent purges reflect the bloodthirst of Volkur. Wood Elf scouts on the surface repeatedly submit warnings about the drow to the upper castes, only to be turned away, and many are beginning to fear that the negligence of the nobility could lead to the fall of the forests at the blade of the Dark Elves. So, that's it for the Elvens.
Good.
Yeah, so real quick, Mr. Lawson, if you would like to introduce us by name and or YouTube channel.
I am Lawson, also known as the Von Root, and just as awkwardly as I entered this channel, I'm just like that in reality.
That is kind of the character you're playing.
That is an accurate statement.
Inspiration.
You scared me away.
Should I say what I'm playing then?
Yeah, just a brief name, race, class.
I will be a Goliath sorcerer.
What?
Whose origins are shadow. So at one point, I will teleport behind you awkwardly and go, "Greetings!" Because my wisdom is low and I don't understand personal space boundaries.
And what's his name?
Let's go with Larson.
No, that's not
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it is Percival. It is Percival.
Okay. All right.
I told you it was worth the wait.
That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I'm so proud of you for branching out in the kind of characters you play, Lawson. I
You mean this one is going to just be me?
Well, I was thinking with the Dampier
Oh,
orc.
yeah. So let's go with Goliath Sorcerer.
I don't know. I missed the half orc with the blunderbuss.
Oh, yes, that.
Oh,
So a couple of quick notes as far as different races for our viewers. I've already kind of mentioned the Aarakocra being kind of like birdmen. Dampier are half vampire, half another race. In Nathan's case, they are half. In Nathan's case, he's half human, half vampire.
Shit.
Meanwhile, let's see. I'm trying to think of. Oh, the genocide I'd already kind of covered. Goliaths in this world are the descendants of a union between human and giant.
So, wait,
How
Yeah.
does
this one
that
was female.
work in
Yeah.
a practical?
Don't think about it.
Now hold on.
This is the lube gland of the mountain goat.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ.
That's what someone says when they see it.
Perfect.
Meanwhile, orcs are the descendants of elf and giant.
Wait, now hold on. How does that work?
Don't think about it.
we're not discussing. We're just.
This is the secondary secret lube gland of the mountain goat.
It's hidden behind the left leg.
Yeah.
So,
Right there, right behind the back of the knee.
so I'm gonna quickly go through the history of the world. It won't take nearly as long as the countries because I'm kind of abbreviating it. speaking of countries, the human lands, also known as the Middle Kingdoms, is a small collection of 4 holds. Each is ruled by a different jarl. We are starting an Elvashith hold, if you're curious. This is the same. This is the same hold lands that the Dragon's Hoard Inn takes place in. So, so some of at least 3 of you are familiar, at least with the Densford area of the Elvashith Holdlands.
Yeah.
So way back in the past, we're talking the year 1700 before Odin's War. A portal opened up in eastern Midgard that led to the Feywild. So as such, elves, Eladrin, pixies, all kind of started migrating over the course of 1,000 years, spreading across that eastern half of the continent, both shaping and enriching the forests with their Feywild magics. At the end of those 1,000 years, however, the portal closed. Entire centuries had passed with high mages attempting to reopen the portal with absolutely no success, and the kingdom of Talamna Forosi was forced to accept that they may never return to the Feywild. Nevertheless, the elves made the most of their world and established an empire which remains the largest to this day. At about 700 years, or at about the year 700 before Odin's War, was the era of the giants. So this one's probably the one that might have a little bit more to do with what we're going to be playing. Though separated from the eastern half of the continent by a tall mountain range, the elves still faced strong armies along their borders there. Giants ruled an empire with an iron fist, and foremost among these massive humanoids were the storm giants. Their cities were rich and splendorous, and their societies flourished, but all of their accomplishments were built with the blood and sweat of slaves. Only the Titanspire Mountains kept their empire from spilling over into Elven lands, despite the 700 years of war that followed the closing of the Feywild portal. The slave force was predominantly built of humans and dwarves, both of which had entered the worlds through portals that were long lost to time. And by the time the giants had risen to power, both races had essentially become primitive natives to the eastern reaches of Midgard. The harsh conditions that they were forced to live in slavery caused them to develop a bitter resentment of their giant overlords. It's still a point of contention in the realms of the scholars as to whether the gods were men elevated to divinity because of their revolt, or if they were indeed divine beings from a higher realm who felt pity for the slaves and decided to intervene. Those that believe the former state that a clan who'd called themselves the Norsemen managed to escape their bonds and found sanctuary on an island where they were able to plan their revolt. The head of this clan, Odin, then led a war which resulted in the giants' downfall. But those who believe the latter argue that Odin and the gods descended from Asgard and rallied the humans and dwarves against the giants. Regardless of the gods' origins, Odin's war was nearly a century of revolt, which destroyed the empire and reduced the giant society to rubble, and thus began the era of man. The era of man lasted for roughly 600 years. It runs from the time of Odin's War to the start of the Dragon Wars, and it was a time of significant culture and learning. The elves were grateful to humanity for eliminating the giant threat, so they agreed to keep to the west, seek enlightenment and knowledge without expanding their borders, and that agreement continues to be honored today despite the condescending attitudes of the High Elves and Eladrin. Man and Dwarf built an empire out of the rubble left by Odin's War, and together the two races discovered countless magics and technologies. There were still frequently land disputes, and the feudal system established kind of maintained an order of peace that was actually unlike any mankind had ever seen on Midgard. But unfortunately, this large empire of man would end up falling at the claws and teeth of the dragons. So at about 589 after Odin's War to about 0 after the Age of Dragons, little is remembered of what had happened. What is agreed is that there were countless attacks on human settlements by dragons that had leveled entire cities. No one knows what had instigated the attacks, and faced with the threat of annihilation, humans and dwarves rallied together once again to save themselves. Powerful magic was devised to slay those dragons, and those that could not wield the energies of the arcane were given dwarf-forged weapons imbued with potent enchantments. Castles and keeps were built with the intent of protecting the innocent and were fortified with soldiers who specialized in dragon slaying. Members of the population who carried draconic blood in their veins were rounded up and slain by the hundreds, and in time not only were the dragons rendered extinct, but so were their descendants, the kobolds and the dragonborn, as well as spell-scale sorcerers. So all draconic bloodline is gone from this world. And that kind of leads us to the first era, the era that we're still standing in. Everything was laid waste during the Dragon Wars, so it was kind of a matter of trying to figure out where to start over. Future wars wouldn't be nearly as devastating as the Dragon Wars, because with the slaying of the last dragon, those dragon-slaying magics just ceased to function. And so basically the few little bits of society left over were limited to small pockets of Midgard. But those pockets rebuilt themselves, establishing holds led by jarls. Cities did develop, but none have ever reached the splendor of the era of man. Trade has started developing once again between the holds, and then between man and elf. And then eventually the seas produced a new source of trade as halfling barges made landfall and began selling their wares to humanity. Currently, it is the 968th year of the First Era, and humanity is starting to rediscover their strength. Vast stretches of land remain untamed, and ancient ruins dot the landscape. It's undeniable that man and dwarf are stalwart mainstays in Midgard. But the lust for power and wealth is starting to reawaken in the Middle Kingdoms. The High Council is beginning to turn its gaze to the west. The wealth and forestry of the elves is a tempting target. And though the elves have maintained their ancient pact to never expand into human lands, the covenant has been forgotten by the younger races. Disputes with the elves have not yet bubbled into full-scale war, but the tension is still very much so thick in the air along the borders. So that takes us to today. Yeah. Any questions?
Currently processing data.
Yeah. Now that I
Text would be nice.
yeah, I will be sending everybody a copy of that document.
Thank you.
if you're playing in the Dragon's Hoard Inn campaign, I do have it up on our group page.
Oh, okay, it's the same one. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, we should know this by now.
We should, but I'm Andrew, so nope.
Hey,
No, you're
hey.
not. You're Thurman.
Sorry, I'm Thurman.
He's learning.
He's learning. He's adapting.
Shit, put him down. God, bedrolls are heavy.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
they're like 7 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, they're exactly
why
7 pounds.
My character does not have one.
Pretty much.
He doesn't usually sleep at home.
So, I think we'll go through characters one by one, just to kind of cover any questions or anything. Those of you who are watching would know that, or at least from my channel, would know that this is what you would call a session 0. We're going to be finalizing our characters, because I know that some of us have already kind of have either already finished our characters or are close to finishing, so this is all the final tweaking and stuff like that we're going to do. And then also we're going to be fitting everything together and finding out why everybody has managed to come together in the city of Elvashid. Um, so I think we'll start with our genocide friend here.
Yo.
Hi.
Yeah. What specifically are you looking for out of me as of right this moment?
If you have any questions, first of all, as far as building your character, um, and then second,
Sorry,
yeah.
go
So
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah. Backstory wise, okay, for context, because I think we were talking about this before we were recording.
Mhm.
Uh, I am a new Ganassi well, I'm probably like maybe a year old tops, or maybe a year or two, who kind of like wandered out of the cliff face that he fell out of and like wandered into a Viking raid party. And when one of the Vikings there just saw just like this rock dude walking out of the woods, it's like, I'm a kill me that, which I respect in a man. So like a devotee of Tyr. So he challenged the Rock Dude to a one-on-one fight. Rock Dude won, and as per the culture, Rock Dude got everything that the guy had, and in this case, including his name. So he became an all fact and function Amon Tornstein. Took all his stuff, took his place in the raiding party, and went out raiding. Um, would it make sense for just because you were talking about in the world building thing, for that to have been like a minor renegade raiding party into Elven lands, or if things not escalated that far yet?
On rare occasion, there will be small little raids. As in any world, the borders are sometimes a little fuzzy.
Yeah, fluid.
Yeah.
Not
So
agreed upon.
yeah, so it could have been like a hunting party or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that because I don't have the amount of time in this campaign as certain members of this party do, so that would just kind of be an easy thing of like, oh, what kingdom were those from? So, like whatever jarl would be doing raids into the Elven land, that could be the guys men who I joined. that-
In which case, I would have to ask north, south, or middle.
I am going to roll a dice. One is north, two is middle, three is south. It'd help if I was actually scrolled down to the bottom. South, apparently.
Okay, so that would be the Jarl of Southhold.
Southhold, got it. Yeah, that does just make things easier. Southhold. There's two H's next to each other in that word, and it weirds me out.
No, it's 1H.
Okay, sure. Take your word for it. It's not like you created the world or anything. God. I think you're actually referring to Frankenstein's monster. Yeah. I'm sure Andrew will bring this up too, but he and I were talking about our characters, and we wanted our characters to have like met before.
Mhm.
If that's all right with you. Just because we have a little dynamic that we want to keep going on. So I think that the core of my character is that he recognizes that he's an absolute fluke of nature. He's never met anyone like him. For all he knows, he's like the only Ganassi or Genasi. We'll reach a consensus one day.
Yeah.
That he's ever run into. So his options are either he was born with great purpose or he's born with none.
Mhm.
And he's kind of leaning towards the latter one. So he's decided that if he's born as like a minor footnote to history, then he will die as like a page in history's book. He will elevate his name to the stars in heaven. If the heaven will not be written in, I shall tear them down so I can build one anew. Yeah, so that's most. He's basically out to get glory. So he'll have left the raiding party because he doesn't like that they're kind of on a leash. He's just gonna go whatever way seems like will like lead him to the most adventure and the
Yeah.
most glory. Yeah, so that's basically the core of my character.
Yeah.
I've just mostly been sitting here with mostly built character right now. I'm just like figuring out the weight to all of my items. And I was wondering if we would roll for starting gold.
I believe we can do that. Give me just one moment. I have my player's handbook nearby, but it's just out of reach. So
I have it on a PDF.
yeah,
with
I just
the
I just
description.
figured we'll all be able to do it together.
Yeah.
So just give me one moment.
We have to re-roll starting gold. I had been given permission to do that already.
I was under that assumption as well.
Was it your permission to do that or Josh's?
No,
Oh.
I asked Josh specifically, and he said, and I quote, "I trust you."
I trust you.
I don't know. That's an accurate quote.
Yeah.
Question is, do you
To-
trust me?
To be fair, I have been balancing all of you guys and this module, so it's kind of difficult to remember everything.
Yeah, that's fine. I already went over the weird little mechanical tweaks I wanted to do with you, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Aside from the eating thing, and I would love to roll for a trinket because that is so much fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Remind me what your class is again, Gabe?
I is bard.
You're a bard. Okay. So go ahead and
roll.
go ahead and roll for us. 5d4 times 10.
That's way more gold than I thought I was gonna get.
Well, because you're a bard.
I do things for that money. Sorry, how many d4 plus?
5d4 times 10.
Oh snap! Oh, the 3D imaging. 160. Oh, Daddy don't have a 13 AC anymore. Yeah. So I will be quietly doing that in the corner while other things are going on.
And then for trinket, feel free to roll a d100 for me.
Yep.
So 31. You have a silver badge in the shape of a 5-pointed star.
Neat.
He's a sheriff.
He's the sheriff.
He's a sheriff in there.
For the sake of this world, it's going to be a 5-pointed star that is encircled. It's
So
got.
it's a pentacle.
It is a pentacle. Likely something you picked up off of a either an elven druid or a shaman or something like that.
Probably something I got in like the initial raid that I like joined the Viking culture.
Yeah.
He shot the sheriff.
And
Well,
I killed the
he did
deputy.
not
I
shoot-
killed
Oh,
everybody.
You monster!
I am what I am.
All right, and then Gabe, one more trinket, please.
Oh, you get two? Sweet.
Yep. That's how I run my games. I give people 2 trinkets. That way, they have a couple of different options for roleplay.
Even if it's like that weird one that's like dragon grease or whatever.
Or a vial of toenail clippings.
Yeah, 13.
All right.
Dragon grease.
You have a tooth from an unknown beast.
Oh, that's rad.
So all about that.
Yeah.
So-
also, in my
So
in my
you
sailor
wouldn't.
Sorry, go ahead.
So you wouldn't know this, simply because you're but a year old. But if you end up coming across, coming across an historical sage, just let you know that is indeed a dragon's tooth.
Oh, metal.
No, it's
yeah.
bone.
Get out.
Good.
End the game right here, you fuck.
That's my job. to
Eamon
point
pulls
out
out
the
his
obvious.
horn.
All
What do you
right.
call it? Yeah, so I have because I have the sailor background.
Mhm.
I have the thing there where I keep a lucky charm. I'm just gonna say that my dragon tooth necklace is my lucky charm.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how much you care about this, but the 3 proficiencies I took for instruments were vocal, horn, and percussion.
Perfect.
And just to keep me honest, these not that I actually ever lie about this shit. The spells I took are Message, Vicious Mockery, Cure Wounds, Featherfall, Sleep, and Thunderwave.
Yeah, I trust you guys as far as spells. And plus, we'll be able to show spells
And
on
Ward of Death.
on our text-based character sheets probably next session.
All right. Yeah, I think that's everything except me reading in the background how the carrying capacity function works.
So I will be running encumbrance rules, but I will not be enforcing money as a weight, and I will not be enforcing your non-armor clothing as weight.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you did shoot down my idea of just eating most of my winnings, so I guess I'll
Hey,
take what I can
you
get.
you can definitely eat it if you want to. Just saying. I'm not stopping you. All right. So how about Drukta?
I am Drukta. Drukta is a pixie paladin from up in
Why?
Elven. Because okay, so here's basically how I've factored it out. Drukta was in fact raised in the wilderness alone. That's not actually uncommon for pixies.
Mhm.
And so while he was being kind of raised by mostly wild animals and stuff like that.
Oh, please tell me you got the feature. I was in fact raised by wolves.
I did not take that, but that's kind of in a side note of like my bond. Like it's not what it is, or I think it was bond, but it's not like exactly what it is. But that is actually a large part of my backstory. While I was out in the woods, I came across an envision of the god Gwyn ap Nudd, which is in the Welsh pantheon the god of the underworld, but he was originally the god of fairies and war. And so he said he would grant me my greatest desire. Now, as a pixie, I don't actually have much for a desire, but I knew that sounded good. So he doesn't know what he's getting, but he knows like he's gonna get something good, and all he has to do is serve this god. And what this god has asked him to do is continue his work, which is slaughtering everything that is not Fae. So elves and pixies are cool with me. Humans and everything else, he kind of wants to kill, but he's very casual about it. He's not gonna actively attack party members, but if you happen to be on your deathbed, he might just deal the killing blow.
Okay, but where does Dampier stand on this?
You are an exotic soul, sir.
Oh, cool.
I would definitely like to send
The
you to my god.
rarity.
Wait, so you'd like to what?
I would definitely like to send you to my god.
Oh, so we
See-
can't be friends then.
See, your only saving grace was if you were half vampire, half elf.
Like elf or like
Yeah.
gnome, right?
Yeah. So in this instance, yeah, I think gnomes are also considered part of the Fae thing.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
So like Jeremy, I will never even consider harming or killing.
You're not worth it.
The rest of you can get straight fucked. So we'll see how this goes. I am not used to playing paladins. Paladins are kind of outside my comfort zone. so
Worst
I've
paladin
decided-
ever.
No,
I'm closer to
Chris played the worst paladin
the
ever.
drowning paladin.
Water soluble.
All right. So, did you already roll your starting wealth, or would you like to do that here?
I did, though I'm not really using it. He doesn't grasp the concept of money very well. So, but he has, like around 170 gold.
Okay.
He's a wanderer, which granted me proficiency in instrument. I chose the Celtic harp.
Perfect.
I have a pixie-sized Celtic harp that I carry around with me. At
That
all
is
times.
adorable.
I'm also primarily a great axe wielder.
Mhm.
I as well carry like a light hammer and some stuff like that.
Real quick, as far as house rules are concerned, great weapons for pixies, like there are rules for small characters not being able to wield like these large weapons. I don't roll with that. I think it's kind of ridiculous that smaller races can't create their weapons to scale.
That's
So-
a pretty small group of people playing most of these characters.
Yeah.
Someone's Lawson, and I don't know what Thurman looks like, so.
So basically, I have it set up so that if we have, say, a pixie wielding a great axe, the weapon is still a great axe. It's 2 scale, and it's still going to do the same amount of damage. Because my belief when it comes to combat, just in general, and I understand that this isn't necessarily the case, it's your skill with the weapon that determines your effectiveness, and less the weapon itself. So,
Um, yeah. Continuing onward, I do have a fly speed.
Mhm.
I want to say, since I'm in heavy armor, I'm probably going to be able to use that as a basic like movement, not as like an actual flying technique.
what's your movement speed?
10 feet on land, 30 feet on in the air.
So what would be the case with heavy armor? If you're not encumbered, you're still going to be fine with 30 feet. If you are encumbered, you're only going to be able to fly about 15 feet.
Okay.
Um,
Still faster than my land speed.
yeah. So we're
I'm
kind of
going-
just generally assuming that you're going to be flying most of the time.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of be floofing around. Yeah, no, that's kind of just what he's about. Pretty simple guy. Somewhere along the way, Drukta met Amon,
Ooh.
and having never seen an Earth Genocide before, he decided that was the best soul to possibly sacrifice to his god. So, being unable to best him in combat, but also not being bested himself, they have formed kind of an unusual pact where they have decided to wander the lands together in search of glory and adventure.
And some
under
way
the
to kill
caveat
this
and
darn, and some way to kill this genocide.
with the
Oh, yeah.
understanding that I will be murdering him at some point, or at least trying.
My glory will but flavor my soul for his god.
All right.
And that's why we get along.
All right. So go ahead and roll your first trinket, please.
Okay. Da-da-da.
All right. So an 11, you have a 1 ounce block made from an unknown material.
Okay.
But how heavy is it?
1 ounce. All right. Go ahead and roll your second.
1 second. I'm writing that down. So we'll forget.
I've already forgotten my first trinket.
It was the star in the circle.
Ah, thank you.
38. You have a tiny sketch portrait of a goblin.
Yes, the best one.
You know that meme where it's like Wolverine stroking the photo of Jean Grey from
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Except of a tiny goblin.
It's just Drew from a line in bed stroking.
Soon, my precious.
All right.
Oh,
It's
Uh,
a nice piece. It's a Vincent Van Goblin.
It's
All right.
missing one ear.
Mr. Thurman,
Yes.
I believe it
Alright,
is.
All right. I will be playing Ankh Ahet, son of Razanael, brother to Anzu Ka, and ascended worshipper of the great bearer of light, Ra. Ankh Ahet and his family are members of a reclusive sect, the Temple of Ra, whose sole purpose is to protect the artifacts of the great sun and ancient lores of long ago. This sect, known as the Ra Nubar, has stood for over a millennia, serving as both guardians and advisors to the priests of the modern temple. While most priests these days tend to be more clerical in their ways, the Ra Nubar have studied and upheld the ancient druidic rites and magics which the original priests originated from. Focusing on the power of the sun into healing light and caustic flames, Ankh Ahet now seeks the Talon of Ra, a powerful and sacred artifact to his order alongside his brother.
I am so stoked for that. Like, he gave me so much to play with. So,
Yeah.
so
Impressive.
since you are playing as a druid, feel free to roll 2d4 and multiply that by 10.
I already have. You want to scroll up to my last roll, you'll see 2d4s, which is a 3 and a 3, which equals 6 times 10, so I got 60 gold.
Okay. Then in that case, D100,
That
sir.
is so much birdseed.
Man. All right, first one is a 99.
You have a wooden
Nice.
you have a wooden box with a ceramic bottom that holds a living worm with a head on each end of its body.
Ew.
Wait, what? I have a what?
Delicacy?
Yeah, that's his emergency ration.
Oh, hold on. I have a wooden box with a worm.
With a head on each end of its body.
Okay,
Where I
so,
come from, we call that something else.
so, man, I was out in the garden looking for lunch, and I find this oddity, and I'm like, I want to keep that. All right.
You're a druid. You're a sacred protector of nature.
I eat nature. I worship the sun. The sun creates nature and lasers. So we'll see what I'm doing at level 12.
I shall name you Tutankhamun, and this shall be your grave.
I should
All
do a
right.
pyramid for the worm. Second roll. I got a 92.
You have an ornate brooch of elven design. Or not elven, of dwarven design. A rare thing to come across in Ijika.
You know what? I probably picked it up from some halfling merchant who owed me a debt. And I
Yeah.
was like, hey, you either give me your right hand for stealing from me, you little fuck, or you give me that brooch. And what is the symbol of it? Is there like a specific religious symbol? Is it like a clan? Do I know?
It likely has the symbol of a Norse god. Let me take a
Thor.
look real quick of Thor. So basically, lightning.
Yeah.
It's a hammer, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Why can't it be lightning?
Why can't it be both?
Why can't it be thunder? The concept of sound.
Hey, that's my thing.
Shit.
I'm going to say that it's going to be it's where'd it go? It's going to be the symbol of a flaming sword.
Go on.
You don't know what god it's to.
Symbol of question mark, question mark, question mark. Got it.
Okay, you cut out there, Josh. None of us actually heard what you said.
Oh, it's a flaming sword.
Uh,
Oh, so it's my emblem.
You should. I keep telling you, you should get a doctor to look at that.
it's the fire emblem, guys. You never believe what I got off a halfling.
If you say chlamydia, then yes, I believe you.
Well, I got that in swap meet.
Wait, you got that in your cloaca?
Ah,
Oh, man.
no. Burning poops forever.
All right.
Burning everything forever. The cloaca is the all hole.
It is the
It's a bargain basement of orifices.
it's the god hole. Is what it is.
All
It's
right.
the
So,
omni-hole.
so Calliston.
Yes, I have already rolled the starting gold,
All right.
so that was 60 as well.
Mhm.
But I have not rolled for trinkets.
All right. Real quick, a little bit of backstory for your character.
Yes. Well,
I-
like I said before, he's from the southern lands of the elves, and being from the lowest caste of society, he and his family really didn't have a whole lot. He comes from a big extended family, aunts, uncles, all of that crazy stuff, and they all lived on a farm somewhere. And they basically only made just enough to survive off of their meager harvest and to cover expenses and taxes. He was close with the siblings that were around his age group, but then one day he got drawn into the woods where he found a pine cone that talks to him.
Yeah, I've been that high before.
Well, he doesn't tell everybody it talks to him. He just, all many of you know, he's just gonna tell you it speaks to me like a good book. So that's all you know.
Sorry. I was just imagining the scenes like, we've been through a lot together, and I decided I finally trust you. Oh yeah? Tell me more. Is this like, come into my room. I want to show you my talking pine cone. I'll buy you dinner first. We'll make an evening of it.
I'll tell you what, I've been in this line of work for a long time, and that's not how you open the discussion.
It's how you close it. High five.
Anyway.
So said pine cone, basically, it kind of taught him everything he knows. It talks to him. It's like his friend, sort of. It's interesting because it doesn't necessarily make sense. He's aware of that. And it's kind of thrown into question his way of thinking, because before he was kind of for just living as he was, but with this and it kind of telling him, well, you could do more with your life. Now he's kind of
questioning them all, Casson.
Anyway, so that's where he's gotten now. He's basically was kicked out of his home because his family thought he was nuts, and they disowned him. So they threw him out, and he just decided to kind of wander and let his little pine cone tell him where to go.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your trinket for me.
Oh God, no!
Okay. 40.
All right, so you have a gemstone that looks like a lump of coal when it's examined by anyone except for you.
Man, he just keeps finding magic things.
Yeah, that's not gonna help his his questioning of his own sanity.
I tell you guys, it speaks to me. Right.
Right. Yeah, just like the Fine Show, right, Cal?
And it's a diamond, I swear.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm broke. I had to sell my most prized condition. Just fucking lump of coal on the table.
I'm having second thoughts about traveling with this party.
All right, go ahead and roll your second one.
Alrighty. 46.
Oh my gosh. You have a dead sprite inside a clear glass bottle.
Does this one talk to you too?
No, you bastard! It was my sister.
That doesn't make it any better.
I cannot explain why he has that yet.
Well, he got it off a green tunic's weirdo who used it for a healing ritual of some sort. You're not sure.
All you know is it dies at the end.
The best part here,
Code told me to kill it.
the best aspect of this. The best aspect of this is that sprites, just like pixies, are a playable race in this world.
Oh, what's that? Oh, it's my pocket corpse. You know, for when I need a corpse, but can't I can't.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
We've got a game.
All right, Nathan, it's your turn.
Like I can follow that. Okay, so Davarin is a Dhampir human, as we discussed, who basically was born and raised partially in a barbarian camp, but he was not very strong, and also, half vampire. So he was sent away. He stumbled into town of where he had
I've been there.
It's
this time of year. Yeah.
it's the town of Elvashid.
Yeah, that place. I was just testing the DM.
I was testing the DM on this world he built.
Yes. Where he had to take up thieving to get by. He ended up hating the work, though. So every chance he got, he escaped mostly by reading books. And through books, he became enamored with the noble class. Ever since, he's been striving to find a way to break into it himself by means he deems worthy, and apparently that means, being a hooker. Uh,
Man, I
Yeah.
got bad news to you about being part of this party.
so, yeah, not nearly as exciting as everyone else, but
Fine. Yeah.
I am going to roll a D100 now. I can only imagine what kind of.
Well, Nathan, there are some things that you had that were a little exciting in your past. Such as a Tyrannosaurus being magically summoned in the town that you had just arrived at.
Yeah, but you just killed like his. He only says that mid-orgasm.
Oh, okay. Just like
Go on.
midway through, you're like, oh, that T-Rex.
I saw a T-Rex once. What? You heard me.
T-Rex.
I just imagine him like mid orgasm, like putting his arms like a little T-Rex's arms, and being like.
Hey,
So-
you know what? When the client has a request, I don't ask questions.
I love the fact that like this world has become dynamic enough to the point where other games that are taking place in this world are now overlapping. It's so beautiful.
So true though.
Yeah.
Oh, I did already roll my gold, by the way.
Yeah.
I got 3 4s in a row and then a 1.
All
So
right.
whatever that adds up to.
No, you know what that actually means is that you were an incredibly successful prostitute.
Yeah, 130 gold.
Yeah. Like
I'm-
like in the rules it says like you live like a really wealthy person. You spend like 2 or 3 gold a day.
Yeah.
I also had an extra 15 gold because of the background I chose.
You are very successful.
Yeah, I'm fucking gorgeous. Like, what do
Actually, what background did you take? I'm curious now.
Charlatan?
Oh,
That makes
that's
sense.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
What is your charisma?
What?
What's your charisma, good sir?
17.
I'm 18, bitch.
I'm 16 and probably the lowest.
Go
I'm
go
tall,
figure.
gray, and handsome.
Go
I'm also
fig-
going to be the least effective rogue ever.
Go
I have- Go ahead.
go figure. The Goliath is more beautiful than anyone else in the party.
Yeah.
It's
Tall,
that
gray, and handsome.
yeah.
Well, if you're ever looking for work, I know a girl.
Please.
Hey, Nathan, if you don't mind a little metagamey thing, I have this disguise kit from my starting gear that I don't think my character's ever going to use. So, if,
I could always use an extra. I already have a
Yeah.
disguise kit, but I'll take another.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Also,
So-
2 costumes. I don't know. I'm not sure what these costumes are. You know, it was my first day looting, and they threw all the loot in the pile, and they're like, oh, pick what you want. So I have like a set of lingerie that does not fit me, and like I don't know, like a stereotypical elven costume, but like kind of racist.
It's all green, pointed shoes, stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, it's a green tunic with a green hat and like some fake ears. You
You
know.
know what's really funny is
What?
that outfit in particular usually does best with dwarves.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and roll your trinket.
I'm way ahead of you. 82 and 25.
Ah, okay. 82. You have half of a floor plan for a temple, castle, or some other structure.
That seems so fitting. There's absolutely no way. Actually,
No. Like you could be like, oh yeah, the head priest uses my services. These are all the rooms we've boned in.
Hey, they said a temple or castle.
construction design plans for the ultimate brothel.
And to be fair, the priesthood in this world for most of the religions does not have a vow of chastity. So
For them.
I think you'll find in real life most. You know,
all right, and then for number 25, you have a tiny silver icon of a raven.
Fancy.
Okay, I am assuming I was paid with that at one point.
Yes. In fact, you were paid for that by a cleric, by an elven cleric of Morgan.
That's death sex raven.
Not necessarily. She's also a goddess of peace.
I keep it as a badge of prize because she said it was the best she ever had.
I
But,
heard
you
a
know,
badge of fries.
I hear that.
And now I am hungry.
All right. Lawson.
Yes, I am Percival, Goliath Sorcerer. See, I was the child of the wealthiest family in my village. We had all of the goats. Yes. Upon my grandfather's death, I was to receive an inheritance. I assumed the goats. Instead, he handed me a small pastry which he told me not to eat. Instead, break it in half and look inside. Inside, there was a small piece of paper that said, "Land is always on the mind of a flying bird," and that was my inheritance.
That's love.
I then went, "What the hell is this?" I got angry and I left.
It sounds too much like your real life, man.
I was raised in a family that enjoyed participating in violent sports, but I didn't enjoy them. I just sat at a distance and made snarky remarks.
All the while nomming on cheese wheels and
Yeah,
goat leg.
And, I should add that I'm already different, but my origins make me more different. I'm always cold. I blinked once last week. And my heart beats so slowly, I often forget it's there, and it surprises me when I feel it.
This is beautiful.
Can I re-roll a new character?
And when I sleep, I appear to not be breathing, even though I am. So yeah, I left that goddamn place and tried to discover myself. I don't know.
What
I was angry.
what kind of sorcerer are you going with? What kind of magic? Wild magic or?
Shadow.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I do what I want.
Yeah. That's from the Ernest Arcana Light Dark, the Underdark. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and the background he went with was the Inheritor one from
Yeah.
the Sword Coast Adventure Guide.
Beautiful. All right, so go ahead and roll your monies if you have not yet.
Alright, let's see.
For sorcerer, it's 3d4 times 10.
And then roll to see if those monies are delivered entirely in the form of trade goods, aka goats.
I've never used this website before.
Slash roll 3d8 or
Looks
3
a lot like the
3
one we
3d4
used before.
times 10.
The multiplication symbol I used did not act
I
as a
believe.
multiplication symbol.
Do not just okay. Use basic, first grade math and times 10 by yourself.
Where's the fun in that?
There.
So you have 60 gold, sir.
Woo!
That is approximately 6 goats.
I don't want
Well
to
done.
talk about goats anymore. That's behind me.
We could use them to carry all our stuff.
No. I have a plan for that.
If we want to measure it in cheese wheels, that's 60 cheese wheels.
Do I roll for
Is there only
trinkets
one
now?
gold per cheese wheel?
Yeah,
I just have.
they're pretty large rolls. They're pretty large wheels.
Do I roll for trinkets now? There, God.
All right.
So it's just D20, right? No,
D100.
100.
Yeah.
Bam! 68.
68. You have a 1-inch cube, and each side is painted a different color.
I can't explain
Didn't
that.
you just get that one?
Yes, I did.
Huh.
So a 1x1 Rubik's cube, right?
Yeah.
It's pre-solved. You were a pretty spoiled child, I see. Everyone's had to solve their Rubik's Cube. Your parents bought you the pre-solved.
No, I know what that is. It was
messed
my
up
attempt
thing.
at arts and crafts because my family encouraged my participation in violent sports and discouraged anything artistic or creative, so I had to make that in secret.
All right, go ahead and roll your next one.
Nope.
That's not how you roll, Lawson.
Thank you.
I'm well aware of what's happening on my dice.
73.
All right. You have the shell of an egg that has been painted with scenes of human misery in disturbing detail.
I have a very dark childhood.
Your artistic skill leveled up really fast.
You have to get good at something when you don't inherit all the goats, Gabe.
You have to channel that rage.
His parents like, that cube isn't art, and this is art.
So,
You're like the most emo. You're like from a well-to-do family, but you're a shadow sorcerer, and you're into like tormented egg art.
Oh, you mean just like people in real life?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm an angsty, I'm a young angsty Goliath.
all right.
Oh, white Goliath problems.
Excuse me, I am gray.
All right. So that kind of covers all of the trinkets, the backstories there. My next question for you guys, is what brought you to the town of Elvasheath? Why are you for some reason staying in the captain's cabin inn?
Well, what exactly is going on in Eldersheath? Like, let's start to break that down a little bit more.
Okay, it's a fairly large city for its holding, seeing as it's the capital of that holding. And like, I mean, minor detail.
Your mic keeps cutting out every important word.
Yeah, it's like it's censored. Honestly, it's like the capital redacted.
So it's the capital city of the Elvasheath hold. So it's a pretty big city for the area. As far as the Captain's Cabin Inn, it was founded some 15 years back by a wandering adventurer, an elf monk, who goes by the name of Captain Aurora. And
Hey,
she's
I know that person.
she's kind of made a bit of a name for herself in more than one way. First of all is, of course, the drug trade. Second of all is she is the guild master for the local Assassin's Guild. Or not Assassin's Guild, Thieves Guild. And on top of that, she started up her own farm and her own tavern, which is affectionately called the Captain's Cabin. As far as other business that kind of goes on in this town, it's your typical bustling city center where there's all this trade going on. Businesses are constantly trying to sell their wares. People are traveling through. So odd races aren't necessarily a strange sight here. Probably the most prominent institution here is the Wizards College of Elvasheath, which 15 years ago was destroyed in an accident in which an apprentice summoned a Tyrannosaurus Rex right in the middle of the tower. It caused quite a bit of commotion in town, but as the story goes, and this is the story propagated by Aurora, she, using her monk powers, had cast a
I can
lightning.
hear the T-Rex.
She using her monk-based powers, was able to launch a lightning bolt from her fist and slay the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I was there, guys. It was only like 2 weeks after I entered the city.
That's 15 years ago.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You having seen this, Nathan, know for fact that she did not cast the spell.
Well, I don't know. I was a child then. I may have built up the legend in my mind.
That's true. But it's kind of a popular urban tale at this point for the city.
How was it
In
actually
fact-
done?
How was it actually killed?
Yeah.
The apprentice who summoned it slayed it.
Okay.
He was trying to prove a point, and he did not successfully prove his point. He was stripped of his magical powers, stripped of his right to develop magic, and exiled from the college.
He was
But-
stripped of his magic?
Yes, it's a very extreme punishment, but this was not his first bit of troublemaking.
Yeah, but how did they remove it?
Don't worry
That's not
about it.
something you would know.
Like, with a plunger?
No, a cleric had petitioned to God to remove the magic from him. So,
I don't know. I like the plunger idea.
um,
Hey, it's a very sacred ritual.
to this day, to this day, there's still a plaque outside the captain's cabin that says "Rest in peace, T. Swift," which was the
Oh god.
Taylor's. Oh my god.
that
Tay
T.
Sway,
T.
the
Swift.
immortal.
T. Swift is the name that my boyfriend gave to that Tyrannosaurus Rex. So,
Perfect.
For those of you who don't know, in a little small in-person game I run in the same world, Jeffrey plays as Captain Aurora. So, anyway, there is one other urban legend in this town, which is in relation to the existence of a dragon. It's only a rumor, as everyone knows that dragons are long extinct. But every so often you'll hear just this little rumor or a joke or something like that, where some farmer out in the boondocks swears he saw a large dragon fly overhead. Probably just clouds or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of Elvis Sheath in a nutshell.
Okay. So, is there anything in particular that's right now in the way of like a political movement, like a war gathering?
This is surprisingly
Sign
good
up saying
questions.
there's adventures, like just like adventure needed, you know?
There is a brand new adventuring guild that Captain Aurora had started up in Elvasheve. It's a branch of the Densfjord adventuring guild. So it's still looking for members, and Aurora doesn't have as hands-on approach as the guild master in Densfjord does. She kind of just puts these contracts up on a notice board and lets her guild members choose the contracts at will.
Okay.
So what do you think, Drota? Why are we here?
Well, it says adventure, and adventures are always where bodies.
Yeah, but will this guarantee me more glory than killing in the raids?
So,
Adventure.
so I think that kind of determines how you guys got here, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We're easy.
Glory in combat. Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Thurman?
Yes.
How did an Ejikin such as yourself come to be in Elfasheath?
Yo, pray tell, I hear rumor that my brother actually came north seeking the Talon of Ra, that actually what I am searching for as well. I haven't heard word from him for roughly 2 months now, so I'm actually coming to look for him to see if he actually has any news for me. So that's what brings me here for now.
Yeah,
'Cause
you can't-
allegedly there are ancient ruins of my people, actually in Midgar.
All right.
So that's
Oh.
what brings me here. So more or less, I'm looking for information.
Okay. Calliston, how did you arrive here?
My question is there anything of weird natural happening going around aside from the dragon? I don't know if that's really something a pine cone would know about.
We don't know what that pine cone's been telling you, man. Like that's
Yeah. But, except to
Um,
kill everybody.
Can I buy some pot from you?
your
The
friends.
pine
No.
cone. The pine cone hasn't really said much that is overly specific, but it does. It does talk of rains in this general area that are much harder than they should be.
Ow, chicka, wow, wow.
Not that kind of hot.
Then he
Yeah.
would definitely be interested. Kind of wandering around the outskirts of town, wandering back in once he's finished, selling
Yeah.
random fancy things he finds on the floor.
It's
Maybe that's where he found the Sprite. I mean,
And you're
um.
Oh, yeah,
The-
oh, yeah, I found this dead corpse on the ground. I wonder if I can sell this.
It's likely that the pine cone had mentioned something to the effect of brimstone without fire falling from the sky.
Redacted.
Uh, brimstone without fire is falling from the sky. So did it cut out again? From the sky,
keyboard.
yes.
Use your keyboard.
Communicate to us the universal language of interpretive dance.
Through the internet.
Oh man.
Holy crap, a spyglass is expensive.
and helpful.
Yeah, it's 1,000 gold, man.
Give me a couple
mean-
weeks, I can make that.
What is it you need? Like obsidian glass?
And an era, what do you call it? An Argentavis that can get
Yeah.
us.
Calistar's pine cone. That's a quote for the history books, people.
Nathan, we know why you're here.
Oh, but do you?
I'm pretty sure we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
live here. What the hell are all you people doing in my town?
Which leads us to Lawson.
Where are we? What day is this? God, how long have I been hitchhiking?
Hey, get out.
I'm sorry, just the idea of like this Goliath hitchhiking and like getting back in this like one horse cart and just
Yeah, that is exactly what's been happening. Like, why am I here? What am I doing with my life?
Who did I kill?
What am I fighting for?
Who did I kill?
Eggshells.
Yeah, and did this weird interpretive art piece where you put the dead pixie you found in a jar, but then you just like left it off in the woods.
All right. So
I don't know
I-
why I'm
That's
here.
it.
I've been hitchhiking, man.
okay, you're probably just wandering, following what you feel is best. So, all right. So that
Specifically, like that carriage driver was a little less creepy than the last one. I'll go with him.
You've heard the lines "cash, grass, or ass." Nobody rides for free.
And then I didn't ride it off.
So, all right, that gives me a little bit to work off of. As far as house rules, we'd already gone over encumbrance, size rules. I think the only other thing is I'm going to enforce kind of like what Mr. Thurman does as far as combat. We will have a little bit of time on your turn during combat to say what you'd like to do, and if you take too long, I start a timer. Not that that'll be too much of an issue. I think we're all experienced enough players here.
Did you decide? Sorry for interrupting.
No worries.
Did you decide whether or not we're going to use the map
The map.
for combat?
We are hence using Roll20. If you guys are new DMs out there, Roll20 is a free tabletop simulator on the interwebs at roll20.com or .net. It's one of the two.
.net.
.net.
Yep, it's .net. Um,
I say it's .com.
it is a very nifty tool for being able to run. It is a very nifty tool for being able to run any tabletop game over internet. So if you live in an area where there might not necessarily be a lot of people, you'd be able to play online through the use of this website. So we will be using maps. We will be using digital minifigs, and we're already using digital dice. So yeah, I think in terms of other house rules, I'd already mentioned that one.
Did you? Because we didn't hear what you said.
Wait, seriously? But yeah, so I think that about covers it, unless you guys have any further questions.
Just as some party stuff, Andrew, I will get a tent for our two characters and carry it.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Your character leaves pixie dust all over it, and I am just so tired of waking up feeling like goddamn Peter Pan with my little green tunic outfit.
That sounds perfectly fine.
So this is for all of our viewers out there. This is basically the gist of a session 0. Most session 0s may even cover the entire aspect of character creation. If you are curious as to how other people run their session 0s or what kind of the basics go into a session 0, go ahead and hit up Nerdarchy's channel on YouTube, where they kind of go into a bit more detail about it. If you are interested in other aspects of the game, you can also go to that channel, or hang around on my channel and Styles Reviews to see more of what Dungeons and Dragons is all about.
I appreciate the shout out, but it was redacted.
It might have been redacted on your end then.
It was redacted on all our ends.
On all your ends? Oh well.
Oh, you redacted all over our ends, man.
What's happening?
Just let this happen. Don't worry about it.
Just accept it.
No.
No tears.
I'm
Only
gonna
James
angrily paint eggs in the corner.
The number of times I've said that to a client.
Oh.
Oh.
I have so much carry capacity left. I don't even know what to do with it all.
I feel I should hand you a towel because you sound filthy. Clean yourself up.
So once again, we'll be running Storm King's Thunder. Everybody who's playing in this game right now, I believe, does not have a copy of that module, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. Those of you who are viewing can purchase Storm King's Thunder from Amazon, Wizards of the Coast proper, or from your local game stores. If you would like to take a look through that module, you will find that the way I run it will, in fact, deviate from the vanilla module, because it's two completely different settings for one, and for two, I always like to personalize our little sessions. So yeah. Any finishing notes from you guys?
Not really out of me.
None that I can think of.
My spaghetti's getting cold.
Still sounds like a you problem.
It is.
That's the code word. Kill the president.
Kill the president.
My spaghetti's getting cold.
And now we have added our beloved viewers at the NSA. Good shout out for you guys.
Good job, NSA. Good job.
Way to find us in this corner of the YouTubes.
You're gonna open up those corner markets, people. Come on.
we are scheduled for next week, right?
Yeah.
After the recording, we'll talk real quick about when we'll officially play. So, But as far as the rest of you viewers are concerned, if you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And head on over to Styles Reviews as well, where